We're diving into alternative approaches to argument. And these alternative approaches to argument are one of my personal favorite things that we do over the entire course. I think they're the most helpful and constructive ways to approach argument and rhetoric, and they're worthy of a broader audience as well. Some dual audience here of my current students and the rest of the people on the internet that might find this valuable. So alternative approaches to argument is about other ways to approach the rhetorical situation that don't mean convincing someone else, persuading someone else, and it's more about listening to someone else, inviting someone else into the conversation, finding a common ground with that other person in the conversation, exploring what the common ground might be, understanding their positions enough to see whether or not you yourself should change your own positions. So just note the difference here. Instead of me coming up to you and saying, I have an argument for you, I'd like to convince you of something, here's the thesis, here are my reasons, yeah, there's this counter argument over here, but ultimately I'm more correct, what do you think? That's traditional rhetoric. An invitational or Rogerian rhetoric is, what do you think? What are you working on? I wonder about your views on this position. Yeah, I invite you to tell me about what you're thinking about regarding this issue, because I'm curious about what you think. Only then, says Carl Rogers didn't say this, Rogerian rhetoric, we can say, is a branch of rhetoric or a brand of thinking about rhetoric and composition inspired by Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers is a psychotherapist, a therapist view of psychotherapy. He wrote On Becoming a Person. And one of the things that this kind of developmental humanistic psychology stresses is that we should practice unconditional positive regard, which means that we, as best as we are able, until someone proves us otherwise, we should treat other people like they're good people and treat them with positive regard, especially if we're engaging in an argument with them or writing an argument with these other people. We want to, in large part, care about them, be curious about them, and believe that they're good people, that they have a good intention in going into the argument. This has a better chance of resolving conflicts, you might say, than just telling someone why they're wrong and why they're wrong. Oh yeah, no, I've got a really good argument on why you should change your opinion about XYZ. Yeah, not gonna work very well. So I'm really passionate about this area of this course. When we extend or deepen our rhetorical knowledge for an advanced level writing course at college, a big part of that is being aware of the situations that we're writing in, right? Being able to read the situation so that we can write a good response that fits that situation. A big part of reading that situation is approaching rhetoric as a good listener, to invite other people's opinions in a way that lets them know that we're listening to them, and to do it in a way that's careful, sensitive of power dynamics. That's what Lassner's post, The Feminist Response to Rogerian Argument, really raises the question of how much we can really listen to other people as a rhetorical device, because there's still these power relationships and manipulation in there, potentially. Anyway, and then how we can practice being mindful, like what kind of presence we should bring to, what kind of attention, the quality of attention we bring to these interactions. That's Alexandria Peary on next Thursday. So I think if you're interested, I'll do more videos on each of these readings, but I just wanted to encourage you to read before Tuesday, Deborah Tannen's, what's the name of her article? Fighting for Our Lives. That's like the easier article on how the words and language that we use to talk about argument skews argument to be more adversarial. I'm going to win, you're going to lose, than friendly. Like, we're working on this together. Instead of me versus you, it's you plus me working on this thing, right? that's Deborah Tannen's thing, just being mindful of the language that we use when we argue. That's her articles, Fighting for Our Lives. That's the easier, more popular article. The scholarly article that I want to encourage you to read, even though it's longer and more challenging, is Foss and Griffin's proposal, Beyond Persuasion, a proposal for invitational rhetoric. I think I should probably do a longer video on that, but know that as an academic scholarly article, it's going to be a little slower, but you can also skim a little more to find the areas that you want to dive in and really focus on for your reading notes. So I'd encourage you to read the Foss and Griffin, even though it's a more difficult article, especially if you're on your way to grad school. And maybe I'll do a video on that article about why I really like invitational rhetoric and Rogerian rhetoric as a mode of what good rhetoric looks like in the 21st century. One that's respectful, empathetic, based on consent, and curiosity, generally hoping that the other people we're engaging with are good people who mean well, as a starting point. Anyway, there's a lot more to it in that article, but I am excited about these readings that are coming up, and our classes are going to be a lot better if you read the articles beforehand. And this also gives us a break from our research topics to really think about how we might approach the rest of our research in a more Rogerian, humanistic, human-centered way, rather than a Aristotelian traditional logos, pathos, ethos to create the best argument to persuade and change someone's mind, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm definitely taking questions. You can definitely email me if you're getting this video by email, and if you found this and you enjoyed it, you ask a question, I'll answer it for you. May the force be with you. May the power of careful and compassionate listening be with you. And this is Sean Waters. Thank you for subscribing to the channel if this was valuable for you, and let me know if you want me to do more. All right, peace. Bye-bye.